Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Monday, September 28th, and we know that means it's time for another episode of Chatting with Agnes and Cecilia. I'm one of your hosts, Cecilia Sept. I'm the principal and founder of Root Tulips Consulting, and we work with nonprofit organizations. And I'm here today with my friend and colleague, Agnes, and our guest engineer, Adekunle Mokoulu of Nigeria. But first, I'm going to throw it over to Agnes to introduce herself and say hello.
Thank you, Cecilia. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to our global audience, wherever you're joining us from. My name is Agnes Amos Coleman. I'm an author and a consultant. Over to you, Cecilia.
Great, thank you, Agnes. And as I mentioned, we are here today with engineer Mokoulu of Nigeria, and he is going to talk with us about management engineering of the business process and how you can apply engineering principles to your own business process. So welcome, Engineer Mokoulu. Would you like to say hello to our audience and introduce yourself?
Hello, everyone, all over the world. Well, first, my name is Engineer Adekunle Mokuolu. I'm the Managing Director of MOKS Engineering Consultants Limited, and we specialize in highways and bridges and all transportation infrastructure. Essentially, well, personally, I've had various experiences in the public and the private sector, and I've handled projects of so many dimensions and magnitude. Thank you.
Oh, that's great to hear that you're in infrastructure and transportation, because infrastructure and roads are metaphors we like to use in the nonprofit area about how we can make our organizations better. So you're here today to talk about your insights into the business process. So what might be your 3 pieces of advice for someone to apply engineering principles to creating a better business process?
Well, the first thing is you go after the facts. When you get the facts, you identify the gaps. Then you bring in knowledge into it, how to address the gaps using proven engineering processes. So once you do that, then you now look for those who will be able to assist you in terms of human resources, and then, or those who have intellectual resources to be able to fill the gaps that you may have. Then the other, of course, is the materials, both financial and maybe plant and equipment and whatever you need to be machinery to be able to drive the process that you have already established.
So do you have a specific style of developing your business process? So for example, do you like to use Gantt charts for managing projects, or do you have a philosophy of business management?
Well, our first basis of business management is knowledge and integrity. That's just our foundation. And but being that we are in a country, well, not, they say it's a third world country, yes, but at the same time, we have so many variables in order to be able to plan. So sometimes most of the globally accepted business processes cannot really fit in. So we have to take those processes, the global ones, particularly from FIDIC, that's the Federation of Consulting Engineering, that is the FIDIC standard. Then we now domesticate it so that it will be able to fit the process. But our vision and our mission is to ensure that a project is completed to function the way it's designed to function and value for money.
So Agnes, what are your thoughts so far?
No, I'm actually fascinated with this process, Engineer Mokoulu. Many years ago, I was very privileged in being part of a team in an organization that was looking at the business and management engineering of the business process. And the ultimate goal for that was really to do work more effectively and efficiently. And it required finding out, how many hours and time was spent on each project. But one of the things that people took concern with was, how the process was actually done. So my question to you is, how much does transparency play in the management of business process when you're doing this with an organization or with a client? What role does transparency play in this?
Thank you. Transparency is a very key thing in project delivery and any, business engineering. The thing is that when you are trying to juggle with so many variables, you want to ensure that you can predict, what will happen every step of the way. So the question of transparency, it's really a choice. It's a choice of the client. If the client is not very transparent, then of course we don't even touch the project. It's just as simple as that. So, however, we would have made sure that we try to engage the thought process and the attitude of the client to say, look, this is the best way to go, and that is for your interest. Because the best thing is to be very transparent in whatever you're doing when it comes to management of engineering businesses.
Well, so in addition to transparency, what do you think is another important principle for the business process internally and then also dealing with your clients?
You must be able to define the end result and how you want to go there. Usually, when you leave a lot of guesswork, a lot of things unresolved, it is better that you have first definition of what you want to do, and then what is the aim. All the deliverables must be very clear, and the various milestones must be clearly defined to the extent that everybody has, will be able to know clearly its own responsibility. And as a matter of fact, it's always good to have a workshop. You cannot have even too much of it. You have to keep dialoguing, documentation, and so on and so forth. Because one of the problems in this part of the world is that we want to let all the agreements to be the same. No, all the agreements cannot be the same, because the clauses for developing or delivering a road project is different from developing a metro project, which will include all the mechanical, electrical, to join with the civil to be able to get to where you want to go.
That's an excellent point. I'm glad you brought that up, because so many people try to do a template approach to every single thing they do. And we believe in being unique and providing that unique interaction and unique service. And so it's great to hear that that is something accepted globally and not just, by me and Agnes, so to speak, because I know Agnes and I like to do that with our clients as well. And I like the idea. Now, you mentioned a workshop. I'd like to talk about that a little bit. So do you do a workshop with your clients so that they understand the process and how you're going to work with them?
Exactly. You see, in order to succeed and succeed well, because you succeed well when knowledge is hinged with integrity and transparency, because both of them go together. You see, you need to invite, because the client is like the promoter. The client is the promoter. So, and it's not in all cases that the client is right. So you can get somebody from outside to come and show the client the reason why he needs to go through road A or path A instead of path B that he's looking at. Because you know that in anything, in any business, everybody is first will look through different windows. Oh, I see a flower. Oh, I see an eagle. Oh, I see that and everything. But when you want to execute a project or a mission, whatever it is, you now bring everybody together to form a parallax. So that we'll be seeing the same thing at the same time. So whatever we now need to get from the various things that we are seeing from our windows, we'll bring them together to be able to create harmony. And that is the only way we can all enjoy the relationship. And that is how it's going to be sustainable anyway, because each time we want to make sure that our clients, we don't lose them. And we don't lose them because we don't cut corners and we do things, in a quality way.
And your focus on getting everyone in the same direction and that view, that's such a great example, because you're right, people look out a window and we all notice a different thing. And if you can get everybody to shift and focus, and I love that you use the word harmony, because I think any successful relationship and project has to have that as an ingredient. Agnes, did you have any thoughts? You're usually very insightful.
No, I think it's great. And as he was speaking about harmony, I was thinking about our board of directors within the association community. Can you imagine if the board of directors of our associations are harmonized in their way of thinking and in the way of delivering the strategic goals? I mean, how much we will be more successful as an association. So I think there's a lot of application here for our global audience, particularly our global association, that they can definitely benefit from. And I like the analogy about we're all seeing different things, and it's okay to see different things, but also there's that need for us to be harmonized in where our strategic goal is taking us. So I think this is commendable, Engineer Mokoulu. We really appreciate your insight on this.
Yes, that's really great. And I love that, Agnes, how you apply that toward the directors.
Yes.
Yes, that's really, so we've talked about, gosh, so many wonderful ideas. So we've talked about transparency, defining the project, having those identified goals, having a unique approach to each project, and also creating that harmony by building that on the foundation of knowledge and integrity. So this is Engineer Mokoulu, this is a very strong outline, I think, for any organization to follow, especially beginning with knowledge and integrity. And so when you're following up after a project, let's say you finished that project, you've built that road, or you've created that metro or subway. So what sort of follow-up do you do after that? What sort of like evaluation or client follow-up and support do you then offer?
Oh, okay. The thing is, clearly, one of the challenges in my country, it has to do with maintenance of facilities. Most of the metro lines that we worked on actually they've not been put into use. The Abuja Metro is still being test run, and but then we are trying to ensure that even for the roads, we ensure that from time to time we develop a framework for maintenance, of these roads. And sometimes we do what you call pro bono in trying to report faults and so on, and some issues that will need to be addressed. We just migrate it to the authority to look at it, and we'll keep reminding them. And then, of course, sometimes we engineer publicity. That is, we get to meet journalists to write about things that are of concern, because this, we are all into it. Engineering infrastructure has to do with operating together to use a particular facility in a proper way. So, and when things are not used in a proper way, whether by the provider or by the users, then it creates a lot of problems.
Well, that is so true. People tend not to continue to use things correctly, and I think we all come across that in life. And believe it or not, Engineer Mokoulu, we are near the end of our time today. 15 minutes goes very quickly. So I like to ask Agnes if she has any closing thoughts, and then I'd like to ask you for a closing thought before we sign off for today. So Agnes,
Thanks,
do you have
Cecilia.
a closing thought?
Sure. I just wanted to talk about what he's already mentioned. Continuity, I think it's very important in any business process. So the ability to follow through and engage all the stakeholders is so critical in the management of engineering of processes, because if you don't have that continuity, with all the best intentions, you can succeed in the short term, but in the long term, that's going to be a problem. But if there's that continuity, you can always, make sure that the stakeholders are involved. You're always checking in and finding out what's going on. How are they using that process? Is this a value to them? Is there anything that we can do better? It's almost like, it's an assessment. It's like an assessment of the process, but it's also a continuity in investment in that process. So I think that it's definitely very crucial to it. So again, I just want to thank you, Engineer Mokoulu, for sharing your perspective with our global audience.
And Engineer Mokoulu, what is the one thought you would like our audience to take away today? And then how can they follow up with you if they'd like to get in touch?
Oh, thank you. The one thought I want to leave with the audience is we should look at every time, always look at a way that we can make things better and make better things. Because nothing, you should know that nothing is in its final state. All can be improved upon. And that is what will engineer, our business. And in managing it, we must be sure that you are your brother's keeper. Oh, well, your sister's keeper. This is now Agnes and Cecilia. So it has to be, you are your sister's keeper. So in doing that, then you just anchor with the fact that all of us are in this world to enjoy it for the time we're here. So, and if you don't enjoy it, I cannot enjoy it, and your happiness depends on me, and my happiness depends on you. Thank you.
That's very Ubuntu. I love that.
Actually, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I have a company. It's called Ubuntu Infrastructure Development Limited. That's the construction arm. Yeah.
Oh.
Wow, and then yes, it's registered. It's a corporate entity registered in Nigeria, and we're into affordable houses actually, because accommodation it's one of the very critical factor in our country, and sanitation, water and sanitation facility. But then, for everything that has to do with the masses, it needs a lot of funding. So my email address, I like to always have one or two, kulemox@hotmail.com or kulemox@gmail.com. The website of our companies, we want to still scrub it and make sure that it's up to global standard. When that happens, we'll upload it, and then people will be able to see us. But it's a real groundwork that we're trying to do in addressing the major developmental problems in Nigeria for people to live a better life in Nigeria.
Oh, that's wonderful. So there you have it, folks. Engineer Mokoulu, he doesn't just build roads, he builds lives. So that's wonderful to hear, and love your philosophy of let's make each other a little happier every day. So That's a great closing thought. Thank you again, Engineer Mokoulu. I hope you will join us again. I think we would all like to hear more about the Ubuntu Construction Company and how you're helping people with housing. That's wonderful. We love to promote those sorts of things. And that's wonderful. So thank you again. And on behalf of myself and my co-host Agnes and our guest, Engineer Mokoulu, we have to go rogue for now, but we'll be back next week with another episode. And like Agnes and I always say, take 15 minutes and talk to somebody because you might learn something. So if you'd like to learn more about Rogue Tulips, you can check us out online at our website, roguetulips.com. We also encourage you to check out the 501c League, which is a virtual membership organization for everyone in the nonprofit community and the people who love them. You can check them out at the 501cleague.net. They're known for offering the ethics course for that new CAE requirement if you need to renew or you need an hour to apply. So for now, we're Rogue Tulips and we're out until next week. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.